Welcome to 5 Minutes of Awesomism, where Peyton and I introduce you to people, places, and things that we feel, actually, we know, are really turning negativity into awesomism. There are so many amazing stories out there and places that people don't even necessarily know about, and we're really trying to help change that. And we also want to thank the Ohos for their phenomenal support of us. They're a major sponsor of us. They're a nationwide sunglasses company, and they have, yeah, and they are so great. And if you use the it's just awesomism with them, right? If you use the code awesomism,
Yes.
yeah, if you use the code awesomism, you get 20% off your order, and the proceeds come back to us to help autistic adults and others who are in need, and we help empower them that way. So, and also thank you, Brandon Hoddy. You have been so amazing. He's a country recording artist who lets us use all his music for everything because he supports our mission. So today we have someone that I've been watching for a while. She is just awesome. And when I tell you she's awesome, I'm not overusing that word. This is someone who gets up in the morning. Okay, I'm going to get emotional. She is someone who gets up in the morning and really, truly tries to change the world for other people. And there's not if we could take Sara and we could multiply her, we wouldn't even have a need for anything because she's so amazing. Like she does so much. Like sometimes I'm watching what she's putting out and I'm thinking to myself, I'm tired just watching what she's doing. Like I'm just watching her. I'm not doing it. I'm tired. Like you are just amazing, Sara. So we have Sara Bradford, and we're going to let her tell you why she's so amazing because anything she says, because she's doing so much, you're going to know why we think she's so awesome.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And this is a beautiful, beautiful welcome. I'm crying a little bit overwhelmed. So, um, yeah, let me pull myself together here. Oh, what an honor to be here. It's beautiful to meet both of you. And just like you said, it literally is my mission to change the world. And I want to do it in so many ways. I've been blessed as I would like to think. I'm a serialpreneur. I want to have 20 projects going at once, and I want them all to help people in all areas that I can. Um, I have three children that are autistic. I'm late diagnosed autistic as well as my husband. So we've really been able to kind of take our experiences and our knowledge with this new perspective we have and share it across so many areas of our lives, our platforms. I started writing children's books, is kind of how I started. I have 7 special needs children's books that are just so meaningful to me. I started a podcast to start promoting, all of those things. And now we are in the 16th season, 360 episodes in of incredible inclusion and community gathering of just amazing people who, like all of us, are trying to make a difference and just want their story to be heard. And I think that there's so much to gain from hearing the voices of the living experiences of our lives, um, and really putting into work in the community, learning how to be inclusive and learning how to build inclusively from the get and not to just be a build on. So that's my latest projects have been in building summits that I've been holding, that I have incredible speakers that I'm just overwhelmed this year at the amount of people who have signed up just within a week, and some other projects that I'm really passionate about. Especially, I'm making this into technology, but for now it's only in analog form. But I create these emergency responder stickers that say an autistic individual is on board. Please see the profile within the vehicle to learn more information. And I'm actually creating something where it can be used, the emergency responders can use it to just tap and then get the information to just help in an emergency, because let's be honest, there's a lot of communication that can be saved in that moment when that emergency responder knows the individual that they might be dealing with that cannot communicate like my son. So this is very personal to me in that I need to have safety. So,
I love that. I think one of the things that I love the most about what you do is you're a late diagnosed, and I don't think we talk enough in this country about the late diagnosed autistics because I don't think we're focusing enough on people who spent a lot of their life feeling like they weren't fitting in and now know why they weren't.
yeah,
And now we need to hear voices from the late diagnosed so that you guys, I think what you have to share is so much more important. But what I also love about you is that you're not just a late diagnosed, you're married to an autistic and you have autistic children. So you really fill the whole circle of who we need to hear, and your
yeah.
voice needs to really be out there.
Thank you. And I just love to educate people. I'm doing something really special just here in my own hometown. I've decided to reach out to all the autism providers here in Utah and say, "Hey, do you guys want to have a meetup?" And I've now this will be my second meetup. On our first one we had 18 companies came. In the time that I had the signups, 9 companies offered their venues. So I basically have like 9 events I could set up at all of these different places, and the response is just so beautiful. I'm so proud of Utah right now for the autism community really coming together and realizing this collaborative effect that they can have is going to be life changing across so many areas of people's lives. And they don't, not just knowing that one speech therapist that you have or that one, anything. Now they're going to have this collage of beautiful providers to offer their clients and their services to others. So I'm so excited. Yeah, it's like I like to think of myself as someone who builds playgrounds and then invites all the people to come and play together.
I love that. I love that. That's why we were excited to have you on, because I feel very much like your perspective needs to be heard. And I know you're not just waiting for people to come and ask you for your voice, you are getting your voice. But the thing that I have the most admiration for you about is that you are inviting everybody else's voice with it. Too often, too many want their voice heard, but they're not willing to share this quote unquote stage with other people. And that's so not true of you. You are sharing the stage, so your voice is not only being heard, but you're allowing other people to speak, like you're 1 in 31. I think that's just amazing. I think those are the kind of things that we need to be doing more of because, we had dinner with Temple Grandin, and she said to Peyton,
I love
you,
Temple.
I do too. And she's so funny.
So
And
funny. Oh my
oh my
gosh. Yeah,
gosh,
she's great.
she
She's
is
great.
so funny. And
Yes,
she really is. And so when we were at dinner, there was only like what 6 or 8 of us at dinner.
yes.
And she, we were for 4 hours, we ate dinner with her. And she said to Peyton, "Do you cook?" And Peyton said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Well, what do you cook?" You know how she's very straightforward. So Peyton was telling her all the different things he cooks. And she said, "Well, that's good. Then you really do cook." And then she asked him like 3 or 4 or 5 other questions. And when we were getting ready to leave, she said, "You're a good mom." And I
Oh,
said, "Thank you." And she said, "Peyton has learned to take care of himself."
that
And she said,
beautiful.
"I don't see enough of that." And I said, "Well, I make Peyton grocery shop. I make Peyton. And she gave us her voice that day. But what was so great was there was 3 other autistics in the room, and she gave them their voice as well.
Yeah.
She's really about the, I will give you what I know, but I also want to hear what you know.
I truly believe that if you're a light in the world, you don't get your flame put out by igniting others. You only burn brighter. So that's how I feel. I feel like inviting all these people, we're just like flaring up.
I completely agree. I completely
Yeah.
agree. And I think the thing that what I loved is then I had breakfast with her another time privately. It was just me and her. because another friend of ours was with us, but she kept having to deal with some things, so it was just me. And she was just so down to earth, and she was talking about when she travels and what airports she doesn't like and all this kind of stuff. And it was just quite humorous because I got to see this side of Temple that she doesn't necessarily show when she's out speaking.
Yeah.
But what was so great about it was when she's out speaking, you do see how much she cares about getting her word out there, which also comes through one on one.
Yeah,
You know, she
definitely.
really does care. And I think people like you, Temple, I put you in the same category. You
Oh,
are literally out there doing this not for yourself. Peyton and I wear t shirts that say, fight for a cause, not for applause.
yeah,
And I see that in you. And see, I see that in Temple. Temple's not trying to get attention,
yeah,
she's trying to bring people to understand.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what I see in you. I really see you 100% fighting for a cause, not for the applause. And that to me, on a scale of 1 to 10, is 1,000. We need more Sarahs and more Temples and less of the, this is about me. I want to talk about what I'm doing.
And we're in a really interesting and kind of an era where we need to really kind of take advantage because everyone at this time has heard the word autism in another, not maybe not everyone, but more people than ever have now heard the word autism. Whether or not they understand or believe, or, that's not for us to really have an opinion, but we can be glad that now we can build on that. We can build on what that means. We can help say kind of guide the narrative in a positive direction to say, this might have been the ideas of what you had, but everything changes. So the world needs to get on board with, the new things that change. So yeah.
I completely agree. And I agree with you. I mean, like when we have our booth at farmers markets, and then people will come up and I'll say, Peyton is autistic, or Peyton will say, I'm autistic, and he hand makes these items. And then 90% of the people will try to talk to us in a relatable way. Like,
Yeah.
my neighbor's son is autistic or so. And when we started doing this, what, 15, 20 years ago, we didn't get that interaction back. Only about 30%. Now it's about 90% will
Yay.
interact back.
I love that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's really it's exciting, I guess, to be a part of like you said in the beginning, there was a whole long time of my life where I didn't feel like I belonged. I was an only child, a divorced military parents, and I was a latchkey kid that just did everything by myself. And there wasn't enough guidance. There wasn't any understanding. I was just told to be quiet and stop being dramatic. So that's how I grew up. But today is I see my children, I dignify their human experience. I'm lucky to have um, people that I'm building friendships with that I'm going to be able to have close to me. And my husband and I are 22 years together this year. So yeah, it's wonderful. And um, I hope everybody can um, have as much success and reach out to us if you need resources. That's the most important part, I think, is that we know how to find them. And if that is a struggle for anyone, then reach out, please, because we will help you.
I completely agree. And I really, want to encourage everybody that's been listening to this podcast to reach out, follow you, see what you're doing, because I really true what I said at the beginning, I meant. I didn't just say that. I mean that. I've been watching you. I really admire you. I think you are making the changes and trying to make the changes that will genuinely help people. You I love your laugh. I love your spirit. I love the way that you are in it to win it, but you're in it to win it for the right reasons. And that's something that needs to be seen more and followed, because I had an autistic adult about 3 weeks ago say to me, and this kind of broke my heart. They said, I want to share my story. I know their story. I know what they're going through, and it's been really difficult. And he said, but I don't want to really tell anybody else my story because too many people run with it so that they can try to fix my problem so that they can get the applause. He didn't use the word applause. He said the
Sure.
attention that they
Yeah.
helped fix an autistic adult. And he said, I don't want that. I want, I really want somebody to help me. He said, because I keep going into this valley. And he said, someone will pick me up, but then I get bombarded with people, oh, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, I don't think they realize that they didn't really fix my problem. They just temporarily lifted me.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I will do whatever. He said, I know. And I'm not asking you to do any more. You've done so much. You've gotten me into places that I never dreamt I could get into, but I no longer can just keep doing the peaks and valleys. And so he said, I don't want to keep coming to you. And I said, you can come to me anytime. He said, I know that. And I think in his own way, what he meant was, I need that tribe. I need my own tribe, not just you to lean on. I need that tribe. And I said, okay. So I gave him to a couple other people that I know aren't going to get out there and say, I've helped this person with this, I've helped that person, and share his story because he's going through a situation that if his story gets shared, it can be used against him.
Mm. Yeah, that's
You
awful.
know, and I'm saying all this to say there's a lot of them out there like that that they have been so used to, especially the later diagnosed. This person is a later diagnosed. They're so used to pulling themselves up and they don't know how to go and share because they don't want to feel like they have a spotlight on them. They just want to feel better. And I see you as that person who's a lifeguard for them in the pool. I
Oh,
do, because
thank
I don't see you out there. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I see you as that person who says, here's all these different resources. You may not fit into this particular mold, but you may fit in this one or that one or whatever. And I think that's what we have to fight the hardest for, is to let everyone that feels like they still don't have a voice, that they have that voice.
yeah. And it really, when you empower somebody with just listening and really seeing them and hearing and wanting to know, being curious about them, they also feel worthy and valuable. And it only takes a few seconds and it only takes a few sentences. And I think that maybe that's a little bit of a superpower that I've gained or have or whatever you want to call it, that I love to let people know that I see them and in all capacities, like not just the I, like you said, I'm not reaching out to celebrities to come be on my podcast and be on the shows. I'm reaching out to advocates, to self advocates, to parents, to, providers that want the same thing I do. They want to help others. So, yeah, I think that between us all, we're a growing community.
I
Me and
agree. I
Frank.
agree. And that's why I love what you do. And I think that that's your calling. And Peyton and I have, done the 5 minutes of awesomism, and we have put on celebrities and stuff. And we have a former WWE superstar who's on here, whose child's on the spectrum. And he's
Oh,
called me
cool.
so he's become a very close personal friend. And he'll call me and ask me different things, did Peyton do this when he was younger and things like that. But and I think we all have our place, because what we're trying to show is, look, if you're feeling alone and you're in the house and you feel like nobody cares about you, there are a lot of people out there who do, and they think you're pretty awesome. And we've expanded it beyond autism to PTSD, to ADHD, to ADD, because we traveled the country for 6.5 months. We traveled the heartland for 6.5 months. And that was the thing. I would find some with PTSD that were like, I just want somebody to understand. And I think what's so great is when we're doing it one way, you're doing it a different way. other people have their own way of doing it, but we all work together because we all have the desire to make changes. Like what you're doing by bringing on the advocates, by bringing on, those that are therapists and things like this, that's perfect because that's exactly fits your mold of what you're doing. And I think it's great. I've listened to some podcasts where it's all about, I had 482,000 people listen to this podcast. And I think to myself, that's great. But did one person really get something from it? I'd rather have 5 people listen to my podcast and 3 of them come to me and say, thank you, I needed that today.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
It's not about the numbers, it's about the help.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's so true. And it's such a beautiful community when you start gathering and you finding people and really bringing them together. And that's what I see like in the summits. I'll tell you, one of the most meaningful things is when I see those connections and those collaborations start between people. And, I just know. And when I see posts of people that I know met in one room that I was there in, that I put together, and then they're doing podcasts and they're doing these other collaborations and working, giving people work opportunities, whatever it means. I'm just like, this is it. This is how I'm making a difference. So, yeah, it's wonderful. I'm blessed and honored to be able to be in this position. And yeah. And exciting because this coming up weekend, I'm going to be doing a little like a table at, it's called the Doodle Dash, and it's a bunch of dogs that I'm on the board of the Golden Healer Service Dogs, and there'll be hundreds of dogs there. Let me see if I have my book. And this is one of my books, Jack the Dog, a
I love
book
that.
about Down syndrome. And it
That's so
really
great.
talks about like what's a chromosome? What does that even mean? Why is he different? And it really explains his this is about my friend's son Jackman. And
Oh,
he has Down syndrome, and he at the time he was in high school, and he was having a really hard time with others just bullying and stuff. And I kind of talk about how the other dogs would take his bones and go bury them in the other yard. But the teacher finally comes and says, look, we need to learn about autism. I'm sorry, about Down syndrome. And she teaches them that they need to be kind, and then they all make dog friends, and
I
they
love
realize
that.
that he just wants to love all of them, that he never, that's all he wanted was to be loving. And most of the syndrome community is just like
Oh, yeah.
these like love bots,
I know.
and it's just like, so yeah. So anyways, I had like maybe 30 donations, not 30 donations, but 30 books donated to give away at this thing this weekend. So I'm
That's
going to take the book,
awesome.
hand them out. I know my husband's like, when are you gonna make us money? I'm like, never. No, just joking.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so great. That's so great. I know. I think my husband thinks the same thing. If somebody else, I get a sponsorship, and then I'm like, you know what? This person really needs to get, they need bus fare. This person really needs to just have a day to themselves, and then Team Awesomism steps up. But that's what it's about.
It
But
is.
we want to thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on.
Thank you
We
guys.
think you are just
So much fun.
literally one of the greatest examples for awesomism.
Can we just do this again just for fun? Just meet up and have a little chat, and I would
100%.
love that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
We are always available. I'd love to do
Yeah.
that. And we will support you in any way we can. We think you're just
Yay.
amazing. And I just want to tell you, as a parent of I'm going to get emotional, as a parent of an autistic adult, people like you make my life so much easier.
Thank you.
And
That's all I want for my son too.
I know. And that's why. And it comes from your heart and it comes from the right place. And you're just a beautiful person inside and out. And I hope everybody
Guys too.
just rallies around you because, I've had people say to me because, I do text with Temple and stuff, and they'll say, who's going to take the leadership after Temple, because Temple was there before a lot of other people were,
Yeah.
really fighting. And I always say the same thing. There are probably 500 of them. There's 500 temples, and they're working so hard,
Yeah.
and they're making changes. And I consider you one of those 500, 100%.
Thank you so much. And that means a lot to me. I want to be that guide, that whatever I can be for people to understand that, I still suffer from sensory things all the time. But I am able to maybe kind of share it with people in a more meaningful way now. There was a while in my own relationship where there was a lot of misunderstanding about touch, and I mean like
Yeah.
just like holding hands or something. And
Yeah.
and it was a lot of like understanding that it wasn't intentional. And so it was almost like this freedom, this independence, and this beautiful, like, I can just really be myself and be understood when I got my identification. So it was amazing, and I'll always be grateful for it. And yeah. And I just told my husband, you definitely have Asperger's. So now that's how he just runs with it now. No, he really knows, but
That's great. That's
yeah, it was just like this is like my sixth odd ADOS for my son, and I was just like, this matches husband. Check, 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 check. Okay, okay. It was great.
Well,
Oh,
thank
you
you
guys
so much, Sarah. And we
have
will
a great
definitely be in touch,
evening.
and let's do this again where we just
Yes,
chat.
Yeah,
I
thank
love
you,
it.
Sarah.
Thank you. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to
You
meet you
Such
too.
a
too.
pleasure.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.